60 seconds today.
I know, moving away from the basics of motivation. Hello and welcome to the Urban Vitality Show. My name is John Limpus and today I'm delighted to have a very special guest. He's a good friend of mine. He is a personal trainer. He runs a bootcamp business which is actually national. And as well as doing that, he's got an amazing blog. Now, on that blog, he's done a number of things, including some really interesting experiments. So today we're going to have a quick chat with Sam Feltham. Hey Sam, how are you?
I'm good, John. You?
Yeah, I'm very good. I know you've just come back from holiday, haven't you?
Yeah, nice relaxing holiday in France and Spain.
Oh, brilliant.
And yeah, topped up my vitamin D levels, which is the most important thing.
Well, we're coming back.
Especially at the moment.
I know, today, bank holiday, just after it's drenched in rain. So the thing I've been telling all my boot campers and clients about you this week is you are the guy that has challenged the calorie counting kind of theory, as it were. So we're going to talk a little bit about how you did that and what discoveries you made. Is that all right, Sam?
Absolutely, sounds good to me.
Before we just quickly go into that, I just briefly, how did you actually get into fitness? Because I think it's always interesting discovering how people kind of made it into the health and fitness world.
Well, my professional career has kind of been a bit of a mishmash. I started off as a website designer post-university and then sort of decided that I didn't want to sit down at a desk for the rest of my life. And then went on to become a snowboard instructor in New Zealand for about 4 years.
As you do.
It's like, yeah, as you do. And then kind of went back and forth between the northern and southern hemisphere for 4 years. And then kind of got sick and tired of the traveling. And then I decided that I really enjoyed the coaching element and studied at the European Institute of Fitness, became a master personal trainer, and then kind of the rest is history. Really.
Yeah, and your company's called Smash the Fat, isn't it? And that's exactly what it does.
Yeah. It says exactly what it does. Good. Pretty much. It's very much like.
Yeah. No, exactly. So, Sam. So tell me briefly. You wanted to challenge the calorie counting theory because, as we both know, that is something that most people, when they're trying to lose weight, that's essentially the mindset they come in with, and it's got a few problems with, they're starving themselves, they're hungry, they're tired, it's very unsustainable. So what did you, what experiment did you actually do, Sam?
So I did a few self-experiments because I'd always questioned kind of calorie counting, being a naturally slim guy myself, and especially when I was young, I was able to eat whatever I wanted, never put on weight. So I always thought, what's going on with this whole thing? And even the fact that we have a concept of somebody being naturally slim or somebody that puts on weight easily tells us something that, maybe not all calories are created equal. So what I did is that I did a 21-day self-experiment where I ate almost 6,000 calories a day. It was like 5,794 calories a day. And on the first one, I did a low-carb, high-fat diet experiment with real foods. So it's kind of like smoked salmon and eggs for breakfast, along with some green vegetables, nuts for kind of snacks, and then some mackerel for lunch. And then for dinner, it was like a steak and green beans. Over those 21 days, despite being in a 56,000 calorie surplus, I only actually put on 1.3 kilos or 2.9 pounds.
That's great. So that is, so with that, Sam, just go into the details. If you say that to people, a lot of people will challenge it and go, oh, so we did more exercise. So, and can you tell us what did you do with the exercise side of things? And also, how many calories per day should you have been having? What was your kind of recommended calorie intake?
Yeah. So what was going on there is that I afterwards kind of calculated the net calorie surplus. So kind of when you minus the exercise, which for me was about 3 hours of cycling a week, which is just kind of my commute to work, along with 3 4-minute Tabata strength training type workouts. So I was just kind of doing bodyweight squats really quickly and press ups. Like that'd be one of the workouts, for instance. And did that kind of 3 times a week.
So that was your normal exercise routine. That was just kept stable. Yeah. So you didn't.
Yeah, just nothing excessive. Just kind of cycling to and from work, and then 3-4 minute workouts. So kind of 12 minutes of strength training a week as well. Yeah. And also when you kind of subtract the loss of calories from dietary fibre, as well as from the loss of the thermic effect of protein, then it came down to 47,000 calories, which equals about 6 kilograms of weight gain. But obviously, as I said earlier, I'd only put on about 1.3. So there's a massive disparity there in terms of actually what happens.
Exactly. So just to clarify for the listeners, according to the calorie counting theory, Sam Feltham should have put on upwards of 6 kilograms of additional body fat in 21 days with a stable exercise routine eating that amount of calories, when in fact you only put on how many calories? Kilograms?
1.3.
1.3, and I think you lost an inch from your waist. Is that right, Sam?
I did actually lose an inch from my waist. So.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, so, it's quite fun.
Just incidentally, how hard did you find it to consume that many calories a day?
It was really difficult, actually, because it's if anybody's kind of eating a low carb, high fat diet, that sort of thing, you find that you get satiated very quickly, and you feel the urge to stop quite easily as well. So kind of pushing through that barrier was really quite difficult, especially in the evening. Kind of in the morning, it wasn't too bad, but by the evening, kind of eating the steak was kind of really, really difficult. It kind of almost took me about an hour to finish a steak, where usually I just smash straight through it.
Gritty. So I mean, and you did a really good blog post, which I've tweeted about before today, just explaining why you think that happened. So what I will do is during this, I'll flash up the graphs which you showed with your actual weight loss. But briefly, for the listeners who maybe haven't seen that video, why do you think you were able to do that?
So first and foremost, we don't understand the human body, and we don't understand biology to the certain extent in how it interacts with the laws of physics, because the laws of physics always stay true. And the one thing that people always quote is the first law of thermodynamics, that energy can neither be created nor destroyed, and so this makes people believe that the amount of calories that you consume has to equal the amount of calories that comes out. And the point is that we don't fully understand how this relationship works. And so the best way that I've been able to describe it is with this sink analogy. So if you think about just a regular kitchen sink, and you have one glass left over, and you put that glass under one tap, and that tap's just going to be your carb glass, because you can only store around about 2,000 calories worth of carbohydrates within your body, mostly in the muscles and slightly in the liver as well. But the sink represents your body fat stores, okay? And the other tap is going to be fat coming into your body. And you can store, even on a lean person like myself and you as well, John, we've got around about 100,000 calories of energy stored up, ready to be used. And that's just on a lean person, let alone somebody that might be overweight or obese. So the point is that if you're eating lots of carbohydrates coming in from that carbohydrate tap that's going straight into your carbohydrate stores, which is just that 2,000 calorie glass, and then when it gets to the top, then it starts to overspill into your body fat stores. Okay, and the problem with that is that you're only able to drink from the carbohydrate glass if you're just eating kind of a lot of carbohydrates, and so you end up not using your body fat, which is the problem. And so any kind of dietary fat that you're eating is just literally getting stored if you're eating a decent amount of carbohydrates. And what's happening is that it creates what I call biochemical limescale, and so it kind of covers up the plug hole basically, and so the body fat isn't able to be used as energy. So when you start to eat real foods, and for some people that might require some sort of carbohydrate restriction to get them to switch over to being able to burn fat for fuel, then that kind of cleans up the biochemical limescale, clears out the plug hole, and then you're able to actually use your body fat for energy. And during my 21-day self-experiment, basically I was staying in what I call biochemical balance, so that I was using my body fat for energy kind of straight away, along with everything else. Because this is another thing with dietary fat, is that dietary fat is not just used for energy. It is also used for building skin cells. It's built for making hair, neurons, and the nervous system, and everything like that. Carbohydrates are only used for energy. That's all they're good for. They're not used in terms of actually building stuff within the body. So that's kind of what's happened basically.
No, and I think I think the fact of the matter is, calories in, calories out is a very convenient and simple way for people to understand how these things work. Whereas the sink metaphor, which you've explained really well on this video that I've shared before, and we'll put a graphic up, is probably the easiest way to explain what is quite relatively, it takes a little bit of effort people to get their heads around it. And especially I think the simplest thing is if limescale does clog your sink, and we've all had that, especially when you're cooking more food, you get built up, and then you just have a problem with drainage. And I think that's what you're essentially saying. A lot of people cannot eat into their reserve fat stores, even though they want to, because they have a build-up of limescale around the plug hole. And that's where the energy in, essentially you're putting the water in and you want it to come out, but you're putting water in, it's not coming out. So, but I think that the graphic you put up there is a superb way of explaining that. Now, you then did another experiment to see if you could prove it the other way. Because people, as we all know, if people want to believe something, they will believe it. So no matter how much evidence you give them to disprove it, so they may be thinking, well, he's naturally skinny. He probably secretly did some exercise. Maybe he was very stressed that month. So you did the same thing with a high carbohydrate diet, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. So I did the complete reverse. So low fat, high carbohydrate with fake food. So this was really cereal, skim milk for breakfast, kind of mini pizzas for snacks, 0% fat yogurt, sandwiches, lasagna and garlic bread, all of this. But it came to the same amount of calories. So the point was that I set the calorie amount exactly the same. And when you kind of, again, take into account the loss from exercise, dietary fiber and the protein effect, then it came down to this pretty much exactly the same amount, about 47,000 calories net surplus. And there was actually a difference of 63 calories in terms of the difference there. So very, very minimal in terms of the mathematical calculations.
Can I just stop you there, Sam, just quickly?
Yeah.
Little thing, sleep, aches, skin, energy. Just quickly summarize, were there any differences between those things on a high-fat diet and with a high-carb diet?
Yeah, so on my high-fat diet, I felt like I had a lot of energy, no problems with sleep, apart from one night where I was kind of really profusely sweating, which is probably my body's way of trying to sort of expend the energy to make sure that my body fat stays the same, because the biochemistry was driven towards that behaviour. And on the high carb diet, I was all over the place. Within 3 days, getting headaches, a little bit of sleep apnea, a lot of snoring, and kind of getting pokes in my back from my girlfriend and stuff like that. Yeah. And yeah, just generally feeling kind of like crashes in the afternoon, which I wasn't getting with the other experiment.
Can I just quickly ask, what about aches on your body? Because I've actually, personally as well, found that even with me, I'm quite sensitive to sugar, so I'm just even finding fruit or even the lactose in milk, by playing around with that, I've noticed a reduction in aches. Would you say that, did you find any aches coming back? I mean,
nothing noticeable.
Okay.
For me, I'm relatively injury free.
You're not as fragile as me then, clearly.
Maybe not, but maybe if I did it for longer, then it might get worse. I don't know.
Okay, so let's go to the results then. So basically, high carb, and for those of you that maybe have done some tracking and stuff like that, what percentage carbohydrate were you kind of putting into this bad boy?
65%.
That's not even, I mean, you could have gone higher, couldn't you? I mean,
I could have gone higher, and I have gone higher.
Yeah, so I suppose it's 65, and then the most of that would have, and the rest of that would have been a little bit of fat, a little bit of protein.
Yeah, equal amounts.
Oh, was it? Okay, okay, perfect. So at the end of 21 days, same calories. What were the results with weight gain, first of all?
So weight gain, it was 7.1 kilos. So that's like 16.1 pounds, I think it was, something like that. And but yeah, it was 7.1 kilos, so quite a bit of difference, almost 6 kilogram.
You're a unit. You're a big lad, Sam. Unit.
It was. I went up to my heaviest ever. It was something stupid like 215, 16 pounds.
Wow. And what about the waist?
The waist. So the waist went up by 9.25 centimeters.
Okay,
so
right.
About 3.5 inches.
So that's a couple of belt buckles.
Yeah, it was. I really felt it. If you look at any of the photos,
we'll whack those photos up.
A real baby coming on.
Brilliant. So essentially, you've got exactly the same amount of calories, exactly the same amount of exercise, and probably lifestyle stress does fluctuate, but not 7 kilograms and 1 kilogram. And a really good explanation, just highlighting essentially what you're saying is quality, not quantity, and the macros. Macronutrients are a huge part of this kind of weight loss story, and you're educating people that through your blog and through your boot camps and through personal training and stuff like that. What's been the effect since you've kind of done the experiment? How's that kind of what influence have you seen that's happened on people?
I think it's been really positive on the whole. We managed to get in the Daily Mail. For it, we were kind of like the lead health story. Great. On the Tuesday. They always put in, they've got like a good health section that they put in every Tuesday. We were the lead story on that. So the title was on the front page of the Daily Mail, which was great. And it got a lot of discussion going on their website as well as on my blog. Great. As well, with kind of like the original source material. I think it's just it's a really good way to demonstrate that it is about quality, not necessarily the quantity, that it's more it's better to start off with people focusing on the quality and kind of the macronutrient ratios than to just focus on the calories per se. Absolutely. Because people can lose weight on calorie restricted diets, but that's because of the reduction in the biochemical reactions, right? So it's not the reduction in calories that's doing that, it's the reduction in total food, which is reducing the amount of biochemical reactions, the damaging biochemical reactions that are going on, basically. So you can eat more food on a higher quality, lower carb diet for the majority of people than you can on, say, a fake food high carb diet. So you can be more satisfied, be healthier with more calories. And this has been shown in many randomized controlled trials time and time again.
Yeah, and I think it's putting the emphasis on more life, more about gaining energy rather than losing weight. And weight loss and fat loss certainly being a byproduct of eating better food and having more energy. So Sam, that's been really, really useful, and I cannot wait to share this with people, so that's going to be great. If people want to find out more about you and about your experiments, and find more videos, where should they go to?
They just go to smashthefat.com, then they can click through to everything there. Just click on the blog, and then you can check out all of our social media stuff, and yeah, all the YouTube videos, and write up conclusions as well.
That's great. Well, thank you very much, Sam, and keep on doing the good work and just getting that message out there, because it does need to get out there. Thanks, mate.
Appreciate that, John. You too.
Cheers, buddy. Take care. Bye-bye.